The following audio is via a Skype call.
Let's talk about your juicy love with me, Una Drake. We explore relationships, dating, sacred union, communication, conscious love, healthy boundaries, and much more. As a dating and relationship coach for over 5 years, with a background in shamanic healing and metaphysical work, I've helped men and women, young and old, from all walks of life. My mission is to increase peace, joy, and love on planet Earth. So listen in and stay juicy.
Oh boy, we are getting ready to have a great time today. Wow, your juicy love. And guess what? We've got the woman that has created this and redefining it joining us here today. You know, we are talking about what? Juicy date ideas for juicy love and a juicy life. Una Drake is the host of this fabulous show. I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to join her. Una, you know, it's great to be here and talking about this, but let's just take a moment, if we could, and talk a little bit about what you've created and how what you've created is helping people, you know, as we like to say, not just get out of the gate, but have some fun, get into the juicy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I'm excited to explore today is actual dates. You know, once you find someone that you want to have a date with, have some fun. Yeah. And there's so many great ideas. And I just know that with Valentine's Day around the corner, this is probably something that a lot of people have on their minds, you know, even people in a relationship or those who maybe want to ask out a special someone. It's always a good idea to get a different perspective on dates and date ideas and maybe even expand what you thought of as a date.
Yeah.
And just shake it up, you know?
I got to tell you, we are being witnessed by Mr. Benny Mathers. Now, I will say he's not on the market now, but in my 15 years with Benny, I have gotten to learn and experience some of the most interesting dating approaches that I've ever heard of. Everything from, should I even mention it, Benny? Being part of a nonprofit donation, and he literally auctioned himself as a date.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. That was good times.
Yeah, boy.
That's awesome.
Hey, it's a good awareness, and you get some of me. I mean, it's a win-win.
That's right.
And the good news is somebody actually bought him. And that was really good, too.
Unfortunately, we're no longer together. We did date for a little bit, actually. After I did, but it wasn't at that in the beginning. We actually reconnected later. And then, of course, we're in different directions now. But
exactly.
It was all good times.
Well, it is. But it's part of like what we're talking about for today's show. It's that, you know, someone said to me, Una, that you know, folks have not remembered how to get creative about dating. You know, we get into this rut. And I was talking to a woman yesterday and I said, you know, when was the last time you guys did secret dates as husband and wife? But for me, this is not my wheelhouse. I don't have a claim to fame in this area. And, you know, I don't think I'm really that juicy when it comes to this. So I'm hoping to learn something from you today.
Well, I'm excited to get going and talk about it. Yeah.
So why are these juicy dates important? Because, we can be so boring.
Well, I think it's the most important because when you have someone special in your life, or even if you're just starting a relationship, I mean, really the fundamental part of any relationship is really getting to spend time with your partner, with your significant other. You know, and it's in getting to spend time with them that you get to know them as a person and you really facilitate the blossoming of the relationship. And, you know, and how this is different. I mean, how is a romantic relationship different from, say, like a work relationship or, you know, even a relationship that you might have with your siblings or parents, you know, that kind of thing. You know, of course, those are all other significant relationships in your life, and you want to spend time with those other people. But it's also important to prioritize, obviously, a romantic relationship. And sometimes, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time, sometimes it can be easy to put it on the back burner. And having an actual date just reminds you to actually prioritize spending time with your partner. And if, just prioritize spending time, getting to know them, prioritize having fun with them, getting to know who they are, because we all change over time. And even if you've been with someone 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, they're a different person today than they were 20 years ago. They're a different person than they were 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And if you're not continually renewing your relationship, then you're going to run into some trouble.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I'm a quadruple Sagittarius. I'm a different person than I was 24 hours ago. That's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about this. Valentine's Day right around the corner. But more than this, let's talk a minute about what you've created overall. Every waking moment of your day is to help people find juicy love.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great job that is.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about it because as someone who has struggled in the past with relationships, both trying to find a good relationship and, struggling in a marriage that, I'm not going to get into details about it, but it just wasn't very juicy for me. And having gone through some hard experiences, especially after divorce, I really struggled to find a relationship that worked for me. And I really have experienced feeling unattractive. I've really experienced being in bad relationships or relationships that I had hoped would go one direction and they didn't. And I know firsthand the difference that being in a really good, really juicy relationship makes. There's a huge difference between being in a relationship that just has all the pieces and is kind of mechanical, like, A plus, 1 + 1 = 2. But in a juicy relationship, it's really about more than that. It's really about transformation. It's about both partners growing, expanding, and it's like an exponential. It just takes it to like a totally different level. I'm thinking honestly, I'm thinking like in chemistry, you can have electrons like at one orbital valence, and then they can jump to the next one. And having a really juicy relationship is like taking it to like a quantum leap, basically.
Yeah. And, we have so many misconceptions about juicy dates. Let's talk about a couple of them. First of all, and then, later on in the show, we'll talk about some of the really cool date ideas. But we have some misconceptions. We say juicy dates. And I was telling somebody about the show today that we were going to do. And you know what they said to me? They said, "Oh, I don't have the money for that." And I said, "What makes you think you have to have money? Isn't that like the number one misconception, that in order to have a juicy date, we have to like take out a loan?"
Oh, golly. No. Yeah. And don't do that, because if you're not relaxed, if you're not having fun, the date's not juicy. So it's got to work within your budget. And that can take any number of things. In fact, I was just talking to one of my clients yesterday, and he was, I was helping him come up with ideas because he wants to ask this woman out. And, we came to probably the best idea for him is, he knows her. So, but I was like, I helped him plan a date at his home, basically. And so even a date at your home, like where you're making a meal, can be very, very special and incredibly romantic. So, obviously inviting someone over to your home is not appropriate if you don't know them at least a little bit. So, but if even like a husband and wife married a long time, you can make even a home date where you're cooking a meal together or sharing a movie, just at home. You can make it a romantic experience, and you could make it a really juicy experience. Honestly, one of my favorite date activities with my boyfriend is cooking together, because he happens to be a really good cook. I love to cook. And when we create a meal together, it's creative, it's juicy, it's fun. I love playing with the smells and the textures and, just trying out new recipes, or inventing recipes. To me, that's fun, and that's relaxing. It's juicy, and it's juicy a lot of times involves creativity, at least in my definition. And I feel like if you're creative with your romantic partner, then you're you're learning, you're growing, you're expanding your comfort zone. And that's really when you're doing that with someone that you care about, that you're in relationship with, that's where your relationship as a whole can really grow together, because it's creative. It's like literally life-giving.
And well, you know what I love about this show today is that I want to be really clear to everybody out there. The definition of juicy is a personal one. What may be juicy for you, Una, or may be juicy for me, may not be juicy for Benny, and may not be juicy for a bunch of people. I just did a 45-minute show on the Oscars. And I'm the kind of person that if I go to see a movie, I love to be able to talk about the movie. Like I went to the movie. What did you see? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Right? And, you know, part of the dilemma is if you make a date to go to the movies, right? And you go with somebody that it doesn't matter if you don't like the same movies, but doesn't have that same processing pattern that you have. That's where people get in trouble. And so how do we find out? We're going to talk about this when we come back. How do we find out, I got this juicy date idea. Is it juicy for me or is it going to be juicy for both of us? When we come back, Una Drake is in the house. We're talking about your juicy love. We're talking about the juicy date. Stay tuned. When we come back, she's going to give us a bunch of ideas. We'll be right back.
Tell why there's hills on my skin when you whisper in all your intentions. And I don't really know what my heart skips.
Calling all moms, it's time to awaken your vibrant, intuitive, loving self in every area of your life. Join host Debbie Pokornik as she shares thoughts, stories, and tools to help you stand in your power. Listen to Vibrant, Powerful Moms, helping everyday women create extraordinary lives. Mondays at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. For more information about Debbie, visit empoweringenergy.com. That's empowering with letters NRG.com.
Choose the new earth on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio as Cornelia takes listeners on an odyssey of higher consciousness to inspire, educate, and empower. Cornelia guides people on the path of self-healing, peace, and liberation. The Cornelia Stephanie Show is your catalyst for anchoring heaven on earth on a global scale. For more information, go to corneliastephanie.com.
Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Fatasic has a special gift for everyone out there. To receive 3 chapters of the Knowledge Book as a special gift, send your email to mmjp99@gmail.com. That's M as in Mary, JP99@gmail.com now to receive this fabulous, fabulous gift of the Knowledge Book.
Take your own journey with the angels with Claire Candy Huff's Heaven Sent Guided Angel Meditation CD. Letting go of concerns and living in the now. This beautiful CD walks listeners through practical exercises to help free them from the burdens, worries, and concerns of daily life.
Walking a quarter of the way across the bridge, you see a bright, emerald green light and sense a loving presence. This is Archangel Raphael's green healing energies, nourishing and revitalizing you. Take a moment now to bathe in this green healing light.
Giving you much more than just relaxation and stress release, this wonderfully narrated CD provides vivid visualization, soothing and inspiring music, and an angel's choir that will bring you peace, clarity, and a newfound awareness. Visit angelhealinghouse.com today.
Gain powerful insight and practical tools to support you on your spiritual journey. Access your higher self and tune in every second and fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific to A Life Untethered with Andrew Martin and now co-host Jeremy Nudell. Walking the Path of Freedom. Andrew is a highly attuned, intuitive oracle, energy worker, spiritual teacher, and international radio host. For more about Andrew and his services, visit andrewmartin.energy.
Hey, everybody, you're listening to Your Juicy Love with Una Drake. I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to hang out with Una as she shares what juicy love is all about. You know, today she's talking to us about the juicy date idea. And for those of you that are thinking, I am just not that creative, that's why she's here, because she's going to help us along. It's not just about, can you be creative? It's more about just getting in the game. Una, before we jump ahead, let's stop for a minute and let folks know, look, I need some help in this area. Can you help me out? Can you help me out in the relationship area? Can you help me out in the love area? How can people find out more about you?
Yeah, I would love to help you out. And any listeners out there, yeah, you can find out more about me at unadrake.com. That's my name, UNADRAKE.com. And you can message me through the site. And if you want to send a text to 206 491 3555, send a text to that and say a juicy date. I would be happy to set up a time to talk with you and give you some personalized, juicy dating advice. And and if we work together further, great. If not, then you get some juicy date ideas right from me.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to help you out, even helping you plan your Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And can you talk about this for a minute? Because somebody asked a question. I just got a text message that came in for the show, and they wanted to ask, okay, how do you do this with couples? Do you actually work with couples? Because you're right about it. Maybe you're dating and you don't have like that person, and you're dating like a bunch of people. And I know you help folks with that. But how about like if you're in a relationship? How do we get that? Do you work with folks on that?
Yes, I do. I don't have a specific program for that, but if couples want to work with me in like one-on-one coaching or couples on, I'll work with couples. I can work with people individually, or I can work with them together, and it would be taking them from where they are to where they want to go. And that would be an individualized process.
I love it, because that's usually where couples want to go. A lot of couples don't want to do the therapy. Therapy is not for every couple, but they're at a place where they're saying, I got to get more juice in this. And so they want to do it in a fun way. And that's why I asked you about it, because you're like a fun person to do that with.
I love helping people plan dates and just get more creativity and love and joy into their life. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
I love it. Okay. So going to share some ideas with us now?
Yeah.
Benny, write some of these down, Benny.
Absolutely. So, of course, the biggest I came up with like 64 date ideas in a brainstorming session I did a little while ago. And I wrote them all down, and I broke them into different categories. So, of course, the biggest category is the out and about category. And so these are just ideas. Okay. But see what it pings for you. Visit an art museum or an exhibit. Now, and if you don't want to spend any money at all, you can go to like a First Thursday art walk, or figure out where the good art museums or art galleries are, or free museums are in your city, and go visit them. I mean, I'm an art lover, so for me, that would be a fantastic date.
Yeah, me too.
If you want to spend money and really go out, you can like go to the opera, dress up, go somewhere fancy schmancy. And maybe you like that, or your date likes that. That would be a special occasion date, but that some people really love it. They love the chance to get all glammed up and show off. That's great. You can go dancing, and there's any number of dancing. I know around Seattle, there's anything from contra dancing to tango lessons to blues dancing, waltzing, you name it. And I recommend that almost anybody try out tango lessons. I know here in the city, here in Seattle, you can find certain like tango lessons for absolute beginners. I actually went on a first date one time that involved a tango lesson for absolute beginners, and it was super fun. And I got to say, I think that's a great date idea. And you can check out the lobby or bar or restaurant of a hotel that you've never been to, just go there, and, a lot of hotels have really nice lobbies. you can, and again, that's a date that does not involve a lot of money. You can go take a tour of a winery, a brewery, a distillery, you know, if that's your thing. You can, you know, go to a book reading or a tea ceremony. I know Seattle has a number of different tea rooms. So these are just like little out and about. You can go-kart racing or go to a puzzle room. There's, you know, just things that get you out trying something that you haven't maybe tried before that you can just enjoy with your date, that will facilitate maybe learning a little bit of something new and, you know, just getting a little bit out of your comfort zone. I think, to me, that's the best kind of date.
Yeah.
If you want to be at home, you know, some people like staying at home. So as opposed to out and about. So you can make bread together, for example, or cook something, you know. You can, if you want to host people over, sometimes, you know, you want to have a date that's more social where you get together with friends and you enjoy your partner in the company of other people. So you could host like a mead tasting or, you know, host something at your home or like a dessert tasting. I've had, or dessert and cocktails.
Yeah, I love these ideas because for two reasons. One, it's so Pacific Northwest, but it's not limited to here. And what I mean by that is we have such a culture of welcoming, home welcoming. And, you know, when I came from the East Coast, I didn't know that because on the East Coast, a lot of times you go out, you're out. You're out. You go to New York, you go here. But here we are so cool and creative. You know, one of the things you said I want to ask you about, one of the dilemmas, and I got this question just came in. Love the show. I'm an introvert. Okay, so here's what I want to say before I read the rest of it. Dr. Pat is one of the biggest introverts on the planet. I've taken the Myers-Briggs. I score so far over the introverts thing that I don't even register. But that doesn't mean I'm not good at being on a date. So here's the question. As an introvert, how can, this is from Margot. Margot, hi Margot, thank you. As an introvert, how do I let my datee, I've never heard that, a datee. How do I let that's funny, Margot. How do I let my datee know that I am an introvert and that there are some dates that I'm more drawn to than others? For example, oh, this is funny. For example, going into New York on New Year's Eve with 1 million people watching the ball come down wouldn't be my idea of a good time. What a great question.
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably put it out to your date. Now, if this is someone that you're just getting to know, you can let them know that you'd like to be able to get to know them and that you would like a place where you can hear them, you know, where you have a chance to talk and really hear them. So I'm thinking like a place where you can sit down, like in a booth at a restaurant or a pub or something, you know, where you can have room and audio, you know, space really for to really get to hear them and interact with them one-on-one. And you can use the words "I'm an introvert," although sometimes people can maybe take that the wrong way in some cases.
90% of the time, 90%. Because think about it. I just said it. I can guarantee you that everybody listening to this show is saying, no, you're not. So here's what it means. And people don't know what it means. So I agree with you, you know, blurting out on a date. Oh, wait a minute, I'm an introvert. Here's what it means. I could be out in the world doing this. When the show is over, right? When the show is over, I just want to sit in my room for a little while here and maybe spend some time working on a website. That's all it means. But you're bringing up something really interesting. And that is, what is it we should say on these dates, Una? Let's say we have these amazing creative ideas. I love the bread idea, making bread. I love that idea. Wow. what is it that we can learn about our best dates? What are your best date ideas you've ever been on?
Oh, man.
Here we go. Benny, you better be thinking about yours too.
That's a really hard question because it really, I think, depends on the situation, and is it someone that I've just been getting to know, or is it, someone that I've been with for a long time, I would say that the best dates that I've been on are ones that have had some thought put into them, but aren't over planned and that are creative.
Yeah. And that's the message for Margot too. It's like, you can tell your datee, partner, whatever you want to call them, give them a little information, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, and you don't need to phrase it in terms of I'm an introvert. You can say, hey, I know we're getting to know each other. I'd really like a chance to go somewhere where we can talk and, not be in a super loud environment. Or I love nature. Would you mind, instead of going to New Year's Eve and watching the ball drop or whatever, could we go walk in the Japanese garden or something like that? Whatever it is for you or whatever's in your neighborhood, or walk along the waterfront, or something where it's you have a chance to be in a less frenetic environment. I know many introverts are overwhelmed in really loud, crowded environments. And so if you're just getting to know the person and you don't want to use the introvert word, then I would say just steer the date ideas towards things that are more in your comfort zone. Of course, if you've been on a number of dates with them and you're getting to know them, they probably already figured out that you're an introvert. And so you can just be more blunt about it. Or you can say, hey, if we are going to go to someplace that's more crowded or kind of challenging, then please give me some warning and let me prepare. For example, my boyfriend is an introvert. And so he doesn't mind going to more, social events and stuff, but a lot of times he'll just need some time to kind of really prepare and get himself, geared up for it. And then he can do great, but if he's just thrown into the situation kind of on surprise, then he sometimes will kind of shut down and it's just not a good experience for him. And you got to be sensitive to where your partner's at and where you're at too. Don't, if you know that you're an introvert, then don't try to push yourself into too many situations where you're acting like an extrovert just because you think you should, or you think that's what other people expect.
Oh my gosh.
Where you're at.
I know. I mean, we're going to talk more about this. I love the knowledge and the ideas you bring to the table. I can only imagine what a day in the life of Una Drake may look like. How fun is this? And it's not, and sometimes people that you work with, they may be at a really difficult spot and you're helping them uplift themselves. You're helping them bring more joy in, and that's what we need sometimes, right? Because the problems we get into, we can't find the same solution for the problem. We have to go and look for some help and get some ideas. And you are super creative on this. When we come back, I want to talk with you about, all right, let's talk about some of these ideas that may not seem like dating ideas. They really are. May not cost a lot, but you might get the value of a lifetime. We'll be right back. Una Drake. I'm Dr. Pat. Right. We'll be right back.
Say, hey, now, baby. Oh, mama, don't play now, baby. Say, hey, now.
Isn't it time to put your health first? To give yourself the gift of whole body wellness? What if embracing unconditional love and self-care was the first step to wellness? Could you honor that for yourself? My name is Audrey Michelle, host of Rewired Life Radio and the author of Rewired Life, A Journey to Untangle Chronic Pain and Endometriosis. In my book, I share how I healed from 17 years of chronic pain and disease. Get your signed copy at audreymichelle.com/book, spelled MICHEL.com/book.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
Tune in to the hit show Raging Skillet Radio, Mouthing Off with Chef Rossi. Chef Rossi mouths off about different subjects in pursuit of breaking down walls and opening up your minds. She and Dr. Pat banter back and forth, taking from the headlines of the day on subjects that reach beyond what goes on in the world into your hearts. And go to theragingskillet.com to find out more and let Chef Rossi know what's on your mind.
Stay juicy. Tune in to Your Juicy Love with me, Una Drake, co-hosting monthly with Dr. Pat, and every second Monday at 12 p.m. on Transformation Talk Radio. My show, Your Juicy Love, helps you find the dynamic, life-affirming love you've always wanted. Transform your relationships and bring peace, joy, and juicy, juicy love to planet Earth. For more information, visit unadrake.com.
Interested in deepening your spiritual practice? The School for Esoteric Studies offers online training to spiritual seekers from all paths of life and individual coaching. Our courses synthesize Eastern and Western spiritual traditions based on meditation, study, and service applied to everyday life. To learn more about our courses and services, please visit www.esotericstudies.net.
Have you ever heard of the 90-10 rule? It goes like this. 90% of the time, no one is thinking of you. 90% of the time, everyone's thinking about themselves. And if you think of it like that, it takes the weight off because now you're not being judged. I'm Megan Edge. I'd love for you to join me on Playing on the Edge Radio, Radical Change with Ease, with my co-host Dr. Pat on Transformation Radio FM.
Tell me if you love me or not, love me or not, love me or not. At the house on you, am I lucky or not, lucky or not, lucky or not? You gotta tell me if you love me or not, love me or not, love me or not.
Yeah, that's what I like to talk about. Una Drake, I am so thrilled she's joining us here today. That juicy love. Una, before we kind of jump into talking more about some of the amazing date ideas that you've come up with, how can people find out more about you? How can they sign up for your classes? How can they contact you for personal coaching? All of the above.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, go to my website, unadrake.com. That's UNADRAKE.com. You can read more about me and my work there. You can also message me. You can ask me anything through, the contact form on my site. You can set up a session, a Juicy Love strategy session. I'd love to talk with you, give you a free session to talk about, answer questions that you have. You can also text Juicy Date to 206-491-3555. And again, that's another way I'll message you back to set up a session for us to talk. And that's a free session. I'll answer your questions. And if it's a fit for us to work together further, we can absolutely do that. Does that make sense?
It makes more than sense. It really is. Come on. Let's make this the best Valentine's energy that we've had to date. And for those of you out there, if you want some on-air help right now, certainly at facebook.com Transformation Talk Radio, or go ahead and give us a call right now, because Una will take your calls and questions.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. If you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do for Valentine's Day. I got the kids. 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. Okay, let's talk about these dates, Una, that people are like, I don't know how to get any love without spending a lot of money. Give us the lowdown.
Well, you really don't need to spend a lot of money to get love. If someone's with you for your money, then they're not love. That's not the right reason. You can start out a date that's, if you're just meeting someone, you can meet them for coffee. If you know them better, even more options open up because you can do just normal things. But to me, the essence of a date is really having time to connect with the person that you're interested in, the person that you love, your partner. And so really, it's about setting aside time that's specifically devoted to getting to know them better, and whatever that looks like for you. So we were talking a little bit about during the break about the 5 love languages, and Gary Chapman in his book, The 5 Love Languages, classic book. If you haven't read it, read it. But for example, someone whose primary love language is quality time, they just want to spend time with you. They want to know that you value spending time with them. So a date, even like putting together a jigsaw puzzle together, or, just taking a walk, just spending time together can be really satisfying for someone whose primary love language is quality time. Literally, you're just giving them your time and attention. If someone's primary love language is, say, acts of service, and you could do something creative, like if you know that they need their car washed, you could help them wash their car at one of those like self-service car washes and make it fun, splash water on each other. Okay, this would be better in the summer than in the winter, but just do something together with them that helps them and is fun to do together, but help them out. But, doesn't need to be just totally task focused, but try to bring some levity into it. And again, really be connecting with them. If their primary love language is, say, physical touch, and you know them better, then you could maybe your date is to give them a nice massage, and it was some nice, oils or, bring in some essential oils or nice candles, set up a really sensual environment, and really connect with them on a physical level. And that doesn't necessarily mean sexual, but, you just want to, make sure that they are getting their physical touch needs met.
Yeah.
That's important, obviously that's a little bit, more delicate in the beginning stages of a relationship, but there's so many different things that you can do, and really have in mind that with a date, the primary thing that you're doing is you're developing your relationship with this other person, whether even if it's a first date or if you've been married for 50 years, you're setting aside time where you're making your partner or whoever you're going on a date with the focus, and you're really making it the priority for that time to make them feel special and to really get to know them better.
Yeah. And what we're talking about here too, though, is we're talking about sometimes you can inquire. Now, I'm not talking about walking up to somebody and say, give me your top 10 things you like, because by the way, I'm planning a date. No, I mean, that does work for some people, but there are other ways to find out about people. And what I love about what we're talking today about is you have to be willing to even be interested. Isn't that the first step? Isn't that usually the depth of a relationship, the beginning parts where it comes apart, where you lose interest in being interested?
Yeah, absolutely. That really is, that's fundamental. Yeah, you have to be interested in your partner, and ideally you're having fun with them. And part of, I think, going on dates on a consistent basis, I recommend weekly, but do what works for you. But part of that is keeping the fun in a relationship and being interested. I mean, and if you've really lost interest, I say just be the one who steps forward, who is the bigger person in your relationship.
Yeah.
And just do a little bit of research, observe your partner,
exactly.
What are they interested in? What's the last thing that they told you about? Or what do they do with their friends? Say your partner is just going out with his friends, rather than spending time with you, and you want him to spend more time with you, find out what he does with his friends that he really likes. And maybe that's something that you want to do, and maybe it's not, but at least you can get more information and see what you might be able to suggest that you do together.
I love what you're talking about now, because here we missed this earlier, and we should say this. The date, when you're planning a date for like the two of you, you're not thinking, what do I want to do first? Although some people do that. No, you're trying to create a date where both you and mostly your partner is going to have a great time. And don't text me and email me that I'm talking about codependence, because I'm not. But you're doing something because you want to do it. Okay, so here it is. Now, what happens? Big question. What happens if you find that you love your partner and you're just not the same? Honestly, I have somebody in my life and we are not the same. But I want to tell you, sometimes you have to step away from all the things you love to do and say, you know what? I'm going to sit and I'm going to meet you in the middle, and we're going to go to a movie that the both of us can sit through.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we have to look at sometimes saying, I may not really like to do that, but I'm going to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of growing in a relationship is going beyond our own comfort zones in some way, like learning, expanding, trying things that are new. I've done quite a few things that, I've gone golfing on a date because my partner, the person I was going on a date with liked to golf, for example. I haven't really taken it up since then, but that was interesting, and it was fun trying out a driving range, for example. What's another one? I've tried Aikido because my partner was into Aikido, I even went on an Aikido retreat because my partner really loved Aikido and I was giving it a shot, and, so I think you don't need to take up Aikido if it's not your thing, but
I know,
just be willing to try new things. And that enriches, ultimately, it will enrich your life if you're doing that. Not that you need to take it on as an identity or something major in your life if it's just not your thing. But I think all of us can try new things on a regular basis, and that will not only show our partner that we're really interested in them and we're willing to do things that they like to do.
Right.
But we're also growing ourselves in the process. I mean, I have so many experiences that I never would have had if I hadn't done them on a date, essentially.
Exactly. Well, you're going to love this. Benny, you're going to love this. I actually brought somebody to play table tennis with me.
Oh, nice.
Because they hear that I play table tennis, right? So everybody knows it as ping pong. Mm-hmm. I don't play ping pong. I play like table tennis. And I've been very insecure about this. And finally I said, okay, they were like, oh man, it's like table tennis 24/7 with you. And I said, well, why don't you come? And what's interesting about that is you make a connection that you think you never make through something that you love to do that the other person has not a clue about. And isn't that part of the dating thing, though, Una? You got to take a little risk here.
Yeah,
got to take some risk here.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, one of the early dates with my boyfriend is I set up an easel in my home and I had us paint a picture together, like literally an acrylic painting on canvas that we did together because I thought that sounded really fun. I love to paint, and he hadn't painted in years, but after doing that together, it was so inspiring for him that he went and he started doing tons of painting on his own because it reignited his passion and his connection with painting,
Mm-hmm.
So you never know what's going to happen. So it wasn't a big step out of his comfort zone, when I set that up, but it was something that he hadn't done for quite some time. And you never know, maybe
you don't,
try something new or something you haven't done for a while with somebody. It may just, start up a whole new hobby or aspect of your life that you you never would have tried otherwise.
Yeah. And, let's talk about this. And Benny, we'll go ahead and skip the break. On Saturday, you're going to be doing something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because you are always creating ways to get people involved, engaged, get out there doing stuff. Tell us about how you're bringing people together to do things on Saturday.
Yeah. Well, Saturday, I'm teaching a class on mandala. So it's mandala inspiration. Part of my background, my training, I have a professional training in expressive arts therapy. I can't legally call myself an expressive arts therapist. I'm not a therapist. I'm a coach. But I do have solid training in expressive arts therapy. And one of the things that I developed out of that training was my own technique in working with mandalas and using the process of creating mandalas as inspiration in my own life. And then I've done many workshops in teaching people to basically do the process that I developed. And it's a way to really connect in with your right brain and your intuitive wisdom, and then bring that out into your life, into your real life. So it's a way of connecting with your own creativity and your own inner genius, basically, and then to bring that wisdom into a visual form and into your real life, so it can enrich your life.
I love that. I love experience connecting through, and I'm just going to call it art for now, but there's dance, right? Dance is another a way. I mean, we have great places to learn how to two-step dance, how to do other dances, Latin dances. There's Century Ballroom, where even if you don't have a date, you can go. I mean, we just have so many ways to do that. But art, this morning, I looked up Gwen Fox is an artist in the Southwest, and she's going to be offering some abstract classes. And I emailed her this morning because I thought, what a great thing to do, and what a great thing to do with someone else.
Absolutely.
Right? So people could come and share this together.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be 4 to 6 p.m. and it's at the Seattle Makerspace.
Yes.
It's
on Aurora.
Just off of Aurora in South Lake Union. So it's a great space, and and it's $20 if you let me provide all the supplies. You can do it for $10 if you bring your own art supplies. Some people, they want to use their own notebook, their own pens and pencils and so on. So if that's the case, bring your own supplies. It's only $10. I mean, can you beat that?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even watch a movie at home for that anymore. And so your website, can they find out more on your website?
It's on my meetup group, Juicy Love, Juicy Life.
Nice.
If you go to meetup.com, Seattle, Juicy Love, Juicy Life, or it's also on Single Geeks and Nerds meetup group. I run both of those meetups. So it's on there.
Good job. Okay. So I know we have a few minutes left here. We've covered so much. Some of the things that show up now when we're talking about this is, of course, about romance and about connecting. But there are questions that we should be looking at. Is our spouse / partner emotionally distant? There are signs that we get. How can we help people understand that these signs don't have to be traumatic? They might be symptomatic, but you can do something about it. And you can do something about it by getting creative, right?
Yeah, exactly. I really feel like creativity and stepping outside of our comfort zone, especially as a couple, like learning something new, trying something new, going through a new experience with a partner is really a way to enliven the relationship, because you're experiencing something new together. So you're necessarily growing together with your partner. And that's really what it's all about.
Oh, boy.
And that creates connections that just can't happen any other way. Even if you're verbally sharing with your partner, there's something different about going through an actual experience with with a partner, especially an experience that you've never had before, that's different than anything that you've experienced, that if it's a creative experience, like where you're making a painting or, doing something, learning something that you've never learned before, I think that's just something that can't be replicated any other way. It's new and it creates a bond, it creates a bond with your partner it's like delight that you'll share that memory with them forever.
Yeah, it's really funny because I'm on air. And, once upon a time, I was doing some dating and I mentioned, Benny, probably you can count this on one hand the time that I mentioned it. I mentioned that I love the opera. And it's so counter to the way people see me. They look at me and they see me on a Harley Davidson, maybe playing table tennis. But I mentioned that I really love the opera and I love the arts. And so was fascinating that somebody actually remembered that. And in the mail, I get these 2 tickets for the opera. And I remember thinking to myself, who is this from? And obviously, I didn't know who it was from. And then I got a second piece of mail from the person who sent the tickets and said, I forgot to send you the note. Oh, that's so funny. And, and this was, of course, somebody that I did go to the opera. We became great friends. But that's the kind of attention that just sweeps us off our feet, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's so in our world, it can be so rare to know that someone like really wants to do something special just for us, and if you can show that to your partner, that's just such a precious gift. It's a precious gift that you're showing to your partner. It's an act of love and generosity and, really is showing them that you value them at a deep level. And there's just nothing that can replicate that,
I know. Well, we've covered a lot today. I kind of want to go back and just hit on some high points. First, let me just ask you again, how can people find out more about you? How can they work with you? How can they connect with you? Let's do that first. And then I would love for you to share your final thoughts here about this. And what action would you encourage people to take?
Sure. Well, you can find out more about me on my website, unadrake.com, UNADRAKE.com, and message me through there. There's a thing called Ask Me Anything. Just shoot me an email. You can sign up for a Juicy Love strategy session with me through the Talk to Una link on my homepage. You can shoot me a text to 206-491-3555. And just say juicy date, and or just let me know that, say in your text that you want to talk to me. I'd be happy to set up a free strategy session with you and answer any questions that you might have and see if it's a fit for us to work together further.
Awesome. Una, thank you so much for today. What's your personal message? What would you like to share with people and encourage them to do as we move into this February Valentine's month?
Well, don't just take it for granted. Do something, plan a special date with your honey. If you have one, if you don't, then get out there. Don't just sit around on Valentine's Day being bitter about all the couples that you see around you. Go and find someone that you can take on a date. And if that's just not appropriate for you at this time in your life, then take yourself out for a date. And because you can take yourself out for a date too, if that's what you can value yourself. So, but be open to love, be open to having juicy love in your life and a juicy life, creative life.
That's what I'm talking about. Una Drake, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat. Benny and Carter pushing all the right buttons today. And to all of you, remember that you are so super special. So super special. Do something that is so honoring of who you are. Una, thank you for today.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, let's take a shorty. More coming up on Transformation Talk Radio.
You've been listening to Your Juicy Love with me, Una Drake. Tune in each month as Dr. Pat and I co-host together, creating juicy conversations, and every second Monday at 12 p.m. on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview amazing guests, and you'll learn how to transform your relationships so you can stay juicy. To learn more about me or to listen to past shows, visit my website at unadrake.com.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.